Flames burned out of control at 1028 Main Street in Peekskill. The old wood structure, built in the late 1800s, quickly became an inferno. When the Peekskill Fire Department arrived on the scene shortly after 7 Tuesday night, it looked like they'd be able to contain the blaze, but the flames inside were too great. That horn was a signal for all firefighters to get out of the burning building. Just minutes later, the entire structure became completely engulfed in flames.
At that point, we decided to pull the men out in case of collapse, which we did have collapse a little bit later, to make sure nobody is injured.
The building had been vacant for years. It used to be the YWCA, but there were reports squatters may be inside. But Seymour says firefighters searched the building and found no one.
Nearly 200 firefighters battled this intense blaze on this hot August night, and amazingly, no one was injured. Chief Seymour chalks it up to teamwork.
Can't say enough good things about our ambulance corps who's taking care of our firefighters. It's been a real joint effort.
Mutual aid was called in, helping Peekskill were crews from Ossining, Cortland, Verplanck, Montrose, and other nearby departments. Hundreds of residents gathered around the burning building located in the heart of the city and watched as firefighters tried to fight the massive flames, including City Councilman Bill Schmidt.
At first, it looked like they were going to get a handle on it, but the smoke was quite chronic and persistent, and then it started really just meshing into a big ball, and after that, I think we just all realized this thing was history.
Fire officials say once the flames got out of control, their focus was just to keep it from spreading to nearby buildings. In Peekskill, Rob Hoyle, News 12 Westchester.
More than 200 firefighters were on the scene working to put out that fire. News 12 Westchester's Heather Kovar spoke with one of the bravest on what it was like inside that building, battling all the heat and flames.
Between the heat of the fire and the heat of the night, it was just terrible. We had to keep switching men and back and forth. During
a break, Peekskill firefighter Jim Ferris describes what it was like battling the blaze that engulfed the old YWCA building on Main Street.
All of a sudden, the thing just lit right up on us, and there was nothing else we could do but between the two tower ladders, just pour water on it, and finally we got it down.
Fire officials say no other buildings were ever in jeopardy. They also say they were lucky to have this park next to the old YWCA. It gave them a place to set up and fight the fire from. The park, which runs along one side of the burned out building, was renovated about 2 years ago, just one of many efforts to rebuild the historic district. Peekskill Deputy Mayor Al Lundy says while this fire is a blow to their renovation efforts, he says he feels grateful the fire was contained.
There is no damage to any other adjacent structures, and I don't think it will have a big impact on any traffic flow through the city during the morning.
Directly behind the destroyed building is St. Peter's Church. Next door, a small restaurant and thrift store. While neither were harmed, onlookers expressed grief over Tuesday night's loss of a building said to be more than 100 years old.
The town is losing another historical site, and my heart is aching because of it.
But because of the efforts of nearly 200 emergency officials,
The guys did a pretty good job. We got up, ventilated the roof as fast as we could.
that loss was limited to this one building. In Peekskill, Heather Kovar, News 12 Westchester.
The county cause and origin team is investigating what caused the fire.
And here with us now with an update on the fires, Mayor John Testa. Mayor, thanks so much for being with us. That was some fire you had last night.
It was unbelievable fire, and as was said earlier, to lose another historical structure in the city really hurts us bad, and we're really upset about that point.
It's a shame.
How about this morning? Is there an aftermath? Are people coming to look? Is there...
Well, I was at the site this morning before I came down here, and the building did collapse in, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to save the building, unfortunately. But we have some good news. Nobody got hurt, and we had such a great pulling together of all the firemen. Chief Seymour and Assistant Chiefs Howard and Pappas did a great job of instructing the fire crew, and it was just a really good effort from Mohegan came down with their...
Well, that's, I don't want to say it was a bright spot, but just you have to be reassured with the way that all those fire teams from all over northern Westchester came to assist.
Yeah. Well, the training really paid off. Obviously, these men and women put a lot of time into their training efforts, and it really paid off for us since other buildings were not affected. We just had the park, Victorian Park was refurbished and refinished this year.
Right.
So, no other structures were
well,
damaged.
That was lucky. Any word yet on what may have caused the fire?
There's no word yet. We have the investigation going on. There's some speculation there might have been some vagrants in the area. We don't know for sure since the building was not occupied, so we'll have to wait and see what the investigation brings us.
Is that the biggest danger, just having unoccupied buildings, do you think?
Yeah, and unfortunately this building was targeted as one of our revitalization buildings. We're in the process of a downtown revitalization. It's a historic building, had all the original moldings inside. It was a beautiful building.
That's a shame.
So we were hoping to make that one of our targeted buildings, but we'll work it out, and we'll use that property for another part of our revitalization. And like I said, long as no one was hurt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Peekskill Mayor John Testa, thanks so much for being with us today.